We're jumping right into Hitech Corporation Limited today. The strict reason we're putting this stock under the microscope is its technical setup. It is right up against its monthly year highs. What we've got here is a textbook arc, moving from a technical breakout into a fundamental catalyst, right as they transition out of a heavy capex phase and start seeing some serious operating leverage. Let's look at the chart. So looking at the price structure, Hitech is testing deep structural resistance. It's breaking right above those long-term moving averages. Now, as analysts, when we see technicals flash this kind of momentum, it forces us to dig into the fundamental narrative. We have to figure out, is this upward move actually backed up by the underlying business, or is it just noise?
Well, the structural foundation of this company is its geographic moat. They've got 13 decentralized manufacturing facilities spread across India. We're talking key units in places like Sansavati, Khandala, Rohtak, and Visakhapatnam. Think about rigid plastic packaging for a second. It has a massive volume-to-weight ratio. Basically, you're paying to ship empty air, right? So shipping this stuff long distances is just incredibly inefficient. Having this localized footprint completely eliminates those crazy freight costs and allows them to do just-in-time delivery for their big institutional clients. And that localized footprint, it directly feeds into a huge commercial synergy. There's a 74.44% Dani Family promoter overlap with their anchor client, Asian Paints. This is held mostly through Gitanjali Trading and Investments Limited. For Hitech, this relationship is a game changer. It locks in baseline volume visibility and gives them highly predictable cash flows. They use non-recourse bill discounting, which essentially means Hitech gets paid upfront for its invoices, totally bypassing the default risk. Pretty smart setup. But here's the thing. They aren't just resting on their laurels making standard commodity packaging. They're aggressively evolving. By fully acquiring Thriarr Polymers, they are executing a major structural mix shift. They've expanded their catalog to over 1,200 SKUs, actively moving away from basic thermoplastics. Now they're targeting higher-margin precision thermosets for things like electrical switchgear, automotive parts, and premium kitchenware. They're deliberately trying to step out of that brutal commodity pricing pressure. Okay, but let's take a step back and look at the consolidated financials from FY21 to FY25 because historically it hasn't been a smooth ride. You can clearly see the top-line stagnation here, a 5-year revenue CAGR of just 3.6%. But honestly, the bottom line is what really hurts. Profit after tax margins took a painful hit, squeezing down from 6.7% in FY22 to a measly 1.6% by FY25. Return on equity? That collapsed to just 3.3%. So what exactly triggered this massive margin collapse? The main culprit behind this financial drag was their heavy, debt-funded facility modernization. As they expanded capacity, their fixed capital overheads absolutely ballooned. By FY25, annual depreciation hit 36 crores, and interest expenses climbed to 16.1 crores. The problem? These fixed costs surged while sales volume stayed completely flat. That is a textbook example of negative operating leverage.
And the cost of all this expansion? It completely transformed their balance sheet reality. Consolidated borrowings skyrocketed from just 15 crores in FY23 all the way to 137 crores by FY26. That pushed their debt-to-equity ratio up to 0.48x. At the same time, working capital requirements tightened up, stretching their cash conversion cycle to a really painful 77 days. Look, when your capital is stuck in inventory and unpaid invoices for over 2.5 months, it chokes your liquidity. It forces you to rely on expensive, short-term debt just to keep the lights on.
To make matters worse, they have a massive vulnerability on the input side with polymer resin volatility. Polypropylene and polyethylene prices are directly tied to international crude oil. So when crude spikes, Hitech feels the inflation immediately. Now, they do have contractual pass-through pricing with their big institutional clients, but there's a catch. There is a 30 to 90-day execution lag. That lag basically guarantees temporary but very real margin compression before their pricing finally catches up. But despite all of this historical baggage, Q4 of FY26 was an absolute structural inflection point. Get this, a relatively modest 16.02% year-over-year revenue increase, bring them to 170 crores for the quarter, translate it into a massive 439% expansion in net profit, hitting 8.89 crores. That's a staggering breakout. Let's break down exactly why this happened. This breakout proves that their modernized plants, specifically Visakhapatnam and Khandala, are finally sweating their assets. They're operating at a high enough utilization to actually justify those massive capital costs. Since their heavy capex cycle is pretty much done, their fixed depreciation overheads have stabilized. So now, any incremental volume they push out flows straight to the bottom line. It's operating leverage in action, plain and simple. Now, to look at this objectively, we have to weigh the institutional perspectives, which really come down to a structural dichotomy. The bull case is all about this multi-year operating leverage phase. Bulls love the product mix shift toward those higher-margin thermoset engineering components. On the flip side, the bear case is definitely waving some red flags. At roughly 35 times trailing earnings, bears argue that current valuations offer almost no margin of safety, especially when you factor in their historical margin volatility, the cyclical nature of the paint industry, and the fact that their return metrics have historically sat below their weighted average cost of capital.
Moving forward, if the market is going to validate this premium valuation, we need to track two very specific catalysts. First off, we have to see sustainable gross margin expansion from those Thriarr Polymers thermosets, proving they can actually dodge that commodity resin volatility. Second, annualized revenues absolutely must aggressively scale past the 650 to 700 crore mark. Hitting that volume is non-negotiable if they want to push their return on capital employed back above that crucial 12 to 15% threshold.
So this all leads us to the ultimate analytical uncertainty that the market still has to figure out. Was this Q4 earnings outperformance just a temporary operational bounce thanks to cheaper raw materials, or are we looking at the definitive moment where their massive capacity expansion finally starts generating durable economic value above their cost of capital? That is the core strategic tension defining Hitech Corporation Limited right now.